The first sign never seems like a test. In fact, often she doesn't even know she's testing you. It's a small gesture, a vague phrase, a silence that lasts too many seconds. And you feel it. Deep down, you know something has changed, but you can't explain it. This is the beginning of the silent game that every woman starts when love begins to get serious. Not because she wants to challenge you, not because she wants to hurt you, but because there's a part of her that needs to confirm something simple, yet profound. Is he really who I think he is? And here's the truth that almost no man understands. Love doesn't eliminate her insecurities, love amplifies them. When a woman loves, she becomes vulnerable. And when she becomes vulnerable, she needs to test the ground she's walking on. She needs to feel that you are stable, consistent, aligned, that you won't crumble at the first breath. That's why the test begins as an involuntary movement. One way she checks if the image she's created of you is real or just a projection of her own neediness. Many of these tests have no apparent logic because they don't stem from a reason. They stem from emotional anxiety. You say something simple. She responds with a light provocation, or with a question she's asked before, or with a slight change in mood. And you wonder, why? If she loves me, why is she doing this? The answer is brutally simple. Because love has placed you in too important a position for her not to check. The test is a way to confirm emotional security. She wants to be sure you'll maintain your balance, even when she loses hers. Consider this scenario. You make a random comment. She gives a small emotional cut, a colder comment, an analytical look. She's not trying to humiliate you. She's trying to understand. Does he get easily unbalanced? Does he lose control easily? Is he really mature? And most men fail here because they react with irritation or fragility. She didn't want to destroy you. She wanted to see you strong. That's all. Why does she do this even if she loves you? Because the test isn't against you. It's against her fear. The fear of giving herself to the wrong man, depending on someone unstable, building a future on fragile ground, loving more than she should. She tests you because she loves you. And because love demands clarity. Her test doesn't reveal her intentions. It reveals her emotional structure. Before we move on to the next chapter, do the following. If this topic has already helped you understand something about your current or past relationship, leave a yes in the comments. This helps the video reach other men who need to hear this message and shows me that you are ready to understand the next level of this silent game. In the next chapter, we'll get to the heart of the matter, the psychological root that makes a woman test the man she loves most. There's a point that almost no man realizes. Her testing doesn't stem from a desire to control you, but from the fear of surrendering to the wrong man. And this fear is ancient. It has been shaped by thousands of years of emotional and biological survival. That's why, when a woman loves you, she's not just looking for affection, attention, or presence. She's looking for emotional alignment. The question isn't, does he like me? But rather, is he congruent? Is he stable? Is he reliable? These questions create an internal radar that works without conscious permission. That's why the tests appear even when she can't explain the reason. In psychology, there's a pattern called intermittent verification, which means the unconscious need to repeatedly check if the bond is secure. It's not rational. It's not planned. It's automatic. And the deeper the connection, the stronger this mechanism becomes. That's why a woman can love you and at the same time test you. It's paradoxical. It's uncomfortable, but it's real. She's not trying to bring you down. She just wants to confirm that you won't explode over nothing, disappear emotionally, weaken in critical moments, contradict your own words, change when the pressure increases. It's as if she's calibrating the emotional compass of the relationship. They observe behavior, not speech. And here's a brutal difference between male and female perception. Men listen to words. Women observe patterns. You can say, I'm reliable. But if your energy changes every time something doesn't go your way, Her body registers the inconsistency. You can say, "I'm stable." But if you lose focus when she gets irritated, she senses the breakdown of your balance. For her, behavior is proof. Words are noise. And that's exactly why the test arises. Not to challenge you, but to confirm if what you show on good days holds true on bad days. When she loves, she doubts. Another point that few understand. The test is not a sign of distrust in you. It's a sign of distrust in herself. She thinks, am I deceiving myself? Am I creating an image of him that perhaps doesn't exist? Am I seeing what I want to see? Am I projecting? The test is a way to confirm if she can disarm the fear. That's why some tests arise after she falls in love, not before. Because now she has something to lose. Story: the fear behind the test. Beatrice was in love, but something inside her said, calm down, confirm. She didn't want to provoke you. She didn't want to irritate you. But without realizing it, she began to observe. How do you react when you're tired? How do you speak when you're frustrated? How do you act when she disagrees? When you maintain your composure, she relaxes. When you lose your composure, she activates another test. Not to punish you, but to understand what is real. She doesn't test your love. She tests your structure. In the next chapter, we'll open the black box of tests. The 3 types of female tests every man faces and how each one works. In the previous chapter, we saw that she tests your structure, not your love. But now we've reached the crucial point. There are specific patterns in these tests. They're not random. They're not chaos. They're not female confusion. They follow an emotional script as old as human dynamics themselves. And when you understand these 3 types of tests, you decipher what most men spend their entire lives misinterpreting. Get ready, because now we're going to get to the heart of the mechanism. 1. The axis test, the most common and the most fatal. This is the test that starts small, almost invisible. It's that comment she makes to see how you react. It's not about what she says, it's about what your reaction reveals. Examples: a mild provocation, a deliberate disagreement, a cold comment, a shorter response, a mood that changes without explanation. She's not attacking you. She's trying to understand if you can maintain your inner balance. Because balance is what signals stability. And stability in the female mind is emotional security. A man who loses his balance demonstrates reactivity, impulsiveness, emotional fragility, and lack of presence. And when that happens, she feels exactly what she fears. He's not as solid as I thought. This is the test she performs when she loves. Because whoever loves fears losing. 2. The value test when she wants to see your congruence. This one is less emotional and more behavioral. Here, she wants to know if you're who you say you are. A man of value doesn't need to say he has value. He demonstrates it. In this test, she observes. If you keep your word, if you keep your promises, if you have clear boundaries, if you say no when you need to, if you act the same in euphoria and frustration. This test is key because women quickly perceive men who perform confidently, but don't maintain that confidence. The value test separates the consistent man from the convenient man. And you know what's most ironic? She also fails when you fail here. Because when you abandon your values to please, she loses respect. And when you lose respect, you lose attraction. 3. The future test, the most invisible and the most decisive. This is the deepest and most silent test. She wants to know if she can imagine a future with you, or if she is living a future for you. This difference is brutal. Here, she observes your ambition, your discipline, your life stance, your direction, your decisiveness, and your problem-solving skills. Because for her, love without direction is a bond without a destination. And these tests appear in subtle questions. Are you going to continue in this job? Do you plan to start your own business someday? Are you happy with this path? She's not pressuring you. She's assessing whether you're a man who moves forward or a man who settles. When she perceives movement, she relaxes. When she perceives stagnation, she tests more. The test of the future is where most relationships silently die. Why do these tests connect? See how it all fits together. If you maintain your center, she trusts your stability. If you maintain your value, she trusts your integrity. If you maintain your future, she trusts the path she's on alongside you. These three tests form the emotional map she follows without realizing it. And that's why they're deeply connected to the next chapter. Every feminine test seeks one thing: congruence. In the next chapter, we will reveal the part that few men have the courage to face. Why failing these tests destroys attraction even when there is love, and how disrespect begins to silently sprout. When a woman tests a man, even if she loves him deeply, something silent is happening. She is evaluating his level of emotional leadership. Not leadership in the sense of dominating, commanding, or imposing, but emotional leadership in its purest sense. She wants to understand if she can walk beside him without fear of collapsing. To fully understand this chapter, it's necessary to grasp a rarely discussed truth. Emotional security is to a woman what respect is to a man. If she doesn't feel secure by your side, everything seems fragile, unstable, risky, and that's when the tests begin. But the interesting thing is that when a woman tests you, she doesn't want you to pass the test with theatrical perfection. She wants to observe how you react, because that reaction exposes exactly who you are without masks, without rehearsed phrases, without empty promises. This chapter is crucial because it connects directly to the previous chapter. While in chapter 3 we talked about her fear of losing emotional control, here we show the other side. She also wants to see if you have control over yourself. And here is the central truth. A woman doesn't test you to measure your power over you, but to measure your power over yourself. She observes small signs. When she's irritated, do you lose control too? When she shuts down, do you beg, threaten, or force your approach? When she shows insecurity, do you increase the confusion or offer firmness? When she questions something, do you react with wounded ego or with clarity? These situations seem simple, but they reveal your level of emotional maturity. And why is this so important? Because for her to deeply love someone, she needs to feel that she can surrender without fear. This only happens when she realizes that the man beside her knows how to handle storms, including her own internal storms. But here comes the most important point of this chapter. When she tests you, she is indirectly saying, I want to believe in you, but I need to feel that I can. She is not seeking your perfection. She is seeking your consistency. And that is why videos and scripts of this style have so much retention, because the man recognizes this in his own experience. He realizes that he always reacted to the test by trying to please, prove his worth, convince, when the right answer was always in balance, posture, and calmness. In the next chapter, we'll delve even deeper, showing the exact moment when her testing turns into withdrawal and why few men notice this tipping point before it's too late. There's a silent, almost imperceptible moment that decides everything, whether she continues investing in you or whether she starts to withdraw emotionally. This is the tipping point, the moment when the test stops being just a way to confirm security and becomes an indication that she's losing confidence in the relationship. This chapter connects directly to the previous one. In chapter 4, you understood that she tests to assess your emotional stability. Here, you'll discover what happens when the test fails many times in a row. And the point is simple. She doesn't withdraw because she doesn't love. She withdraws because she stops believing. This is the detail that destroys many relationships. A woman can love a man very much and still withdraw. This has nothing to do with a lack of feeling, but rather with a lack of emotional perspective. When she no longer sees a secure future by your side, her love doesn't die. It just retreats to protect itself. And the turning point comes when she asks herself this silent question. Can I really trust him with my vulnerability? If the answer starts to be no, she changes. She begins to act with more caution, more distance, more observation, and less surrender. The mistake men make is interpreting this as a lack of love. But it's not a lack of love. It's emotional self-protection. And there's more. At this point, her tests increase, become more frequent, more intense, not because she wants to wear you down, but because she's trying to find one last reason to keep believing. It's as if she's saying, "Prove to me that it's worth staying." Even without words, this silent request exists. Most men react with despair, demands, jealousy, or irritation, and then they lose for good. The man who understands this reacts with calm, empathy, consistency, and presence. He doesn't try to control the situation. He doesn't try to force the connection. He simply demonstrates that staying by his side is safe. The next chapter will reveal how to reverse this process, how to regain her emotional trust without begging, without humiliating yourself, and without losing your identity. When a woman begins to distance herself emotionally, men's first reaction is usually the same, to chase after her. And that's precisely the attitude that makes her distance herself even further. But here's an essential point. It's not the distancing itself that destroys the relationship. It's how you react to it. This chapter is a direct continuation of the turning point explained in Chapter 5. Now, let's get to what really matters. How to reverse the situation without humiliating yourself, without begging, without trying to convince, and without losing your masculine identity. To understand how to reverse this distancing, you need to understand the psychodynamics behind it. When she pulls away, it's not because she wants to break up. Most of the time, it's because she's seeking emotional security. It's a defense mechanism, not a sign of abandonment. And this is where many men get lost. They believe that to win the woman back, they need to increase emotional intensity. They become more present, more insistent, more available. But to the woman, this sounds like pressure, not love. The reversal begins like this. 1. Acknowledge the distancing without dramatizing. She needs to see that you've noticed the change, but you're not emotionally distraught. This demonstrates calmness, which generates security. 2. Reduce reactivity. Reactivity is like gasoline on the fire of tests. Calm and firm responses are like water. She notices the contrast. She feels the difference. 3. Show consistency without exaggeration. Women reconnect when they see stability, not emotional outbursts. Consistency means your words and actions follow the same rhythm. You don't alternate between extremes. You don't disappear to feign disinterest, but you also don't give everything away. 4. Return to your center. Men with a strong identity attract again. Men who get lost trying to please push even further away. Therefore, the key to emotional reconquest is not in demonstrating more love, but in demonstrating more self-control. These 4 points begin to reverse the estrangement because they reveal something that was perceived as absent: male emotional security. And there's a very powerful psychological phenomenon. When a woman realizes that you have returned to your center, she naturally begins to reconnect. Her fear diminishes. Her heart relaxes. The connection breathes again. In the next chapter, we will see something even deeper. What happens when you pass her tests and how this redefines the relationship, elevating the connection to a new level. There's a magical and poorly understood moment in female behavior. When she realizes you've passed the tests and can finally relax by your side. It's almost imperceptible, but transformative. It's when she relaxes her shoulders, changes her tone of voice, gets closer, becomes more affectionate, more open, more lighthearted. This moment is not a matter of chance. It's a direct result of your emotional stability. This chapter connects perfectly with the previous ones. In the previous chapters, you understood the why of the tests, the turning point, and how to reverse the distance. Now, let's understand the final result. The female emotional surrender when she realizes you are a trustworthy man. But why is this so powerful? Because for a woman, trusting is harder than loving. She can love quickly, but trust? That's earned little by little, tested, evaluated, observed. And here's the truth. When you don't react with despair, anger, or insecurity, you prove exactly what she needed to see. She realizes that you have a strong core, that you don't crumble under pressure, that you don't engage in emotional conflict, that you know how to handle chaos, that you are self-assured, that you don't depend on her validation to exist. And when she realizes this, something inside her changes. It's as if she finally says internally, "Now I can relax. Now I can trust. Now I can love without fear." It's at this moment that she starts sending sweeter messages again. She talks looking into your eyes. She shows more spontaneous affection. She becomes more present. She starts planning for the future again. She gives herself emotionally more deeply. Deep down, the woman always wanted this. She didn't want to test you to destroy you. She tested you to confirm you. And when you confirm yourself not with words, but with your actions, she truly gives herself. We've arrived at the most important chapter: how to maintain everything you've rebuilt. Emotional reconquest isn't an event, it's a cycle. And when you understand this cycle, you'll never lose a woman again due to insecurity. Let's summarize the entire journey. She tests because she needs to trust. She withdraws when she senses instability. She returns when she perceives your self-control. She surrenders when she feels emotional security. What you need from here on is to understand that emotional stability isn't a talent, it's a daily habit. To keep the connection alive, 1. Be consistent in your energy. Nothing scares a woman more than a man who oscillates between extremes. Being consistent doesn't mean being cold. It means being reliable. 2. Practice true listening. When a woman opens up, she's offering trust. When you truly listen, you strengthen that bond. 3. Keep your life in motion. Men who abandon themselves for love end up destroying love. Purpose, routine, evolution, goals. All of this keeps your masculine energy strong. 4. Don't revert to old patterns. What made her walk away back then can't be repeated. For this, self-awareness is fundamental. 5. Understand that the test never ends, but not as something negative. In fact, it's a sign that she wants to continue ensuring that the man by her side remains the one she chose. And here's the great truth that few say. When you become emotionally secure, she becomes emotionally free. That's the secret to strong, lasting, and true relationships. If this content made you understand something about her and about yourself, then don't let it die here. Click the subscribe button now, because I'm going to continue guiding you on this journey of deep understanding of the female mind. If you're tired of feeling lost, tired of always repeating the same mistakes, this is your place. Activate the bell, because in the next videos, I'm going to show you exactly how to become the emotionally strong man that every woman respects, desires, and chooses to be with.